Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to part 8 of Dynasty Warriors 4 Extreme Legends, and we are going to finish off Act 3. This one is actually rather the easiest level to grind, and not to mention the easiest level to pretty much win because you're facing nothing but generic officers, plain and simple. This is where we face off against Yuan Shu and the remnants of whatever the Imperial family has left to offer, which, quite frankly, is Liu Xun. And all we're practically doing is unifying Jiangdong. Because, let's face it, after Liu Biao and Yuan Shu conspired to get rid of Sun Jian, Jiangdong ended up being in the grasp of the Liu family, which ended up being surrendered by the Cao family, or should I say the Sai family, my bad. The Sai family is the one that actually surrendered the entirety of the Jiang province to Cao for no reason, except for to show some sort of mercy. And in the end, it didn't really matter because Wei, Wu, and Shu were all conquered in the end by Jin. But we're talking about the here and now. As you can see, there's barely little people here, and as you notice in the top right-hand corner of the screen, Sun Jian is the force that is behind this battle. However, you don't have Sun Jian in the battle, which is rather weird, to be honest. I'm not sure why that happens, but whatever the case, this is an all-out fight to the finish, with this being the last battle of this act. And get used to seeing +2 and +4, because that's what happens in most of the acts. If you finish off like some of the acts, you'll end up getting +2 and +4. You end up doing something extracurricular like defeat Lu Bu. That's the only time you get a +8, well, early on in the game, because it's like at the end of the game where you're taking on the final battle of Wu, Shu, and Wei, that you end up getting +8 defense and +8 attacks. Just pray that you actually get +8 defense and +8 attacks, because let's face it, folks, you're gonna need all the defense, the attack that you can possibly need. And let me be honest with you, it's also the only place where the fairy wine is easy to find. I mean, you can't freaking miss it. I'll show you where it is in this part. However, this is the only place that does not have a dim sum. Yes, this is the only place that doesn't have one. Well, actually, no, this is one of the only places that doesn't have a dim sum. The other place, I do believe, is Guan Yu's escape. Anyway, all we're practically doing is taking down Liu Xun's forces, who is trying to take our supply depot. Which, if anything happens to the supply depot, they're all gonna go straight for Susa, and I can't have that happen. So I am definitely happy that I'm getting improvements to my defenses, because oh boy, we're gonna need it for part 10. Because all of the easy rides, the generic officers, that's coming to an end after part 9. I'm telling you right now. Now that Taishin Sir is in our group. Oh, and by the way, there is the fairy wine I was talking about. Right there, I just actually got it. But as I was saying, even though Taishin Sir is in our group, this is going to be nothing more than a good old-fashioned beatdown. There really isn't much to worry about. I mean, if you come into this stage on free mode, I do believe there is an ambush or two from Yuan Shu, or I think Yuan Shu, I'm not sure. No, it's an ambush from Yuan Shu. You'll probably see it when we actually get into the castle. But this whole entire stage is nothing more than you can just grind here. This is like a last-minute grinding spot. If the yellow turbines wasn't enough for you to actually get stronger, this here, all you're doing is picking up level 2 and level 4 attack and defense upgrades. So that's basically the whole gist of this stage. And these generic officers, they won't stand a chance. And once you collect enough of them, then you'll just see your stats just... No, you can see your enemies just dying and dropping like flies, because one slash from you will just take about 1/3 of their health, which is what you want. Because it'll come to the point later on in the game that these officers, no, that the actual mooks, will be just as strong as officers, and you don't want any of that. And it'll also come to the point where when you get to the final area of the game, there'll be nothing more than a bunch of duels, and you'll be running into duel after duel after duel. Excuse me.
I will not forsake my friend Liu Xun. Yuan Shu does not bow to threats. We will guard Liu Xun's rear flank. Follow me.
Now it's time for us to deal with Yuan Shu. The thing about Yuan Shu, he is where you're gonna get your +4 attack and +4 defense. And all of his troops are actually inspired generic officers. So bear that in mind. The funny part about all of this is you can actually go straight to Guangzhou without having to face Yuan Shu. This is only if you happen to be very low level and you can't... Oh wait, actually, attack 2, I didn't think about that. This is only if you're very low level and you can't really deal with Yuan Shu at this point in time. And by that point, I ask you, how did you get so far in the game and you can't deal with Yuan Shu? Now, bear this in mind, this is a Dynasty Warriors 9 Yuan Shu, where he's actually a pretty decent fighter, to say the least, despite the fact that he has the same weapon as just about everybody else with a rapier. But his moveset is actually pretty decent. And unfortunately, there's nothing here. Damn, I thought there was. Oh well. I was wondering what this was all about. And no, I can't jump out the window. So, I just wasted an attack +30. Damn. But what I am going to do, however, is try to lower Yuan Shao's morale so where he won't actually be as much of a threat. And that mechanic actually does carry over from... Oh, wait! Never mind! I happened to find a dim sum. Oops. Forget what I said about this place not having a dim sum. I just happened to find it right there. Yeah. So you can basically find fairy wine and a dim sum in this area. Sorry for the misinformation. My bad. I totally forgot this game. It's been a while since I played it. But yes, Yuan Shu has made an ambush. And normally, I do believe if one of your characters is in this, like Sun Ce, for instance, is here. If you're playing as Sun Ce and you happen to come into this stage, you would probably be in a ambush. But seeing as how it's the edit character, that's not the case. I do believe Sun Jian is only there because of the fact that if you happen to choose Sun Ce, they don't do duplicates like they do in Dynasty Warriors 3. They'll have somebody else as a commanding officer like Sun Jian. That is until somebody actually chooses Sun Jian. Then all of a sudden Sun Xuan ends up being the actual ruler of this entire area. But then we find Shenlan, who is another generic officer that's highly inspired, and I do believe he'll drop some... I think he'll be the one to drop a level 4, if I'm not mistaken.
Enemy officer?
Yep, there it is, level 4 defense. As I said before, this is a great place for you to grind. And bear in mind that you're gonna need all the defense and all the attack, the life up, and the Musou up you can possibly get. If you can reach the maximum of all of them, by all means do so. Oh, excuse me. Bear in mind, though, that you only have 4 created character slots. I do believe you could choose 4 out of the 6 weapons, and when you do, you probably can't get the ultimate weapon for the remaining 2 because you only have 4 slots. Thankfully, Dynasty Warriors 5 fixes that problem. Sort of. But bear in mind, all these edit characters that you bring over to Dynasty Warriors 4 Empires will be already preset. The only downside to bringing those characters onto Dynasty Warriors 4 Empires is that all the stats they have and all of the equipment they have doesn't carry over. You're just bringing the edit character bare bones, because you gotta get all of the items and all of the power-ups that you can. Now, bear in mind also, I keep saying bear in mind, because you gotta remember some of these things. Because in these games, the old games, they will either kick your ass or be too easy for you to beat. And I want to be the latter than the former. But this is, yes, one of the hardest games in the series, if not the hardest game. But bear in mind that Yuan Shu, while he does have a level 4 attack in his possession, he is actually a very powerful enemy, and he is, of course, an aspired generic officer. And he doesn't get a character model until Dynasty Warriors 9, provided you bought the Season Pass. And I'm still salty about that, by the way. But Yuan Shu, the only way you're gonna actually fully beat Yuan Shu is if you actually chop down most of his troops, is what I've been doing the entirety of the time. Chopping down and cutting down all of his troops so that his morale will go down low enough for me to defeat them. And that strategy only lasts for so long until you get to Dynasty Warriors 5, where morale just doesn't matter anymore. And now we've beaten Yuan Shu, Sun Jian and the others are going to start charging the place. And because they are charging the place, it's only a matter of time before they actually get to Huang Zhu. Or should I say, Liu Xun. Sorry, I made a mistake. Huang Zhu is next part. Liu Xun is this part. But he's gonna get to the commander regardless. And if you take out all the strongholds, this will force Liu Xun to actually retreat. There's nothing else after this. And I think Liu Xun will actually show up in Act 3 if you do manage to defeat him. Well, if you don't manage to defeat him, he will show up in Act 3. But I'll tell you someone who won't show up in Act 3 as an actual enemy, and that would be Gan Ning. Because Gan Ning actually was supposed to show up in a stage in... No, not Act 3, Act 4, sorry. In a stage in Act 4, which was actually the next part. The very first stage of the next act, he was supposed to show up. However, once again, thanks to the unlocking mechanics of Dynasty Warriors 4 Empires, no, Extreme Legends. I keep forgetting I'm not playing Empires. That was 5 years ago. Because of that, he's not going to be in the next battle. So, there's that. Anyway, we're going to head over to the main camp of the enemy. We're just slaying off any more enemies that happen to be in our way. And from what I understand, that this battle, I do believe this battle actually was abridged as well, because if I'm not mistaken, Sun Jian actually no, Su Ce actually was in the midst of conquering Jing, but he didn't conquer Jiang because of the fact that he was actually killed by Liu Gang or Liu Song. I'm trying to remember which one. But he was actually killed before he could actually finish off the invasion. So, with that said, we've now made it to the base, and we've got Liu Yi defeated. And I think Liu Yi just dropped an item that we can use, which is fantastic. Oh, and I didn't mention anything about any of the orbs, and there's a reason why. The orbs will randomly show up. Just like in Dynasty Warriors or Empires, the orbs are just a random thing. However, unlike Dynasty Warriors or Empires, you have to actually unlock them first in order for you to actually equip them permanently. Whereas Dynasty Warriors, for Empires, the orbs are just a temporary thing until you get it next turn. I'm just basically wasting all the rest of Liu Xun's troops by slashing them all straight to hell. Plain and simple. I've gotten strong enough to where I can actually take down the rest of these generic officers. And here comes Liu Xun himself. He is the last enemy to deal with. And from the looks of it, despite his hardy defense just like Yuan Shu, he doesn't have too much to offer. And thankfully, you don't have to deal with any duels in this battle. It's just a straightforward generic officer beatdown. And that's the way some of these bosses should be, generic officer beatdown. But with that said, the beatdown finally comes to an end. Well, in this act. The start of Act 4, however, we're gonna have one more generic officer beatdown, and then it'll come to an end. Then that's when all the hard stuff begins. Oh geez, I really do not look forward to dealing with Act 4 because of the non-mins. Chirby, not a problem. The non-mins, that's a different story. So with that said, I do believe we are done here. And I think we've gotten much more experience points for our bodyguards, because they've raised up to level 18 from what I understand. Yep, they're up to level 18, and look at their stats. Fantastic. I need some sturdy bodyguards, because we're going to need it in the next part of Dynasty Warriors 4 Extreme Legends. This is RVman985. Peace out.